This is a special edition of the Northstate's News on KRCR News Channel 7.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the North States News special edition this election night. I'm Glenn Cassie.
I'm Mike Mangus. We've got a lot of election coverage to get to, so let's jump right in. Starting in Shasta County, polls just closed. We're anticipating the first release of vote totals a little before 9 o'clock tonight. The North States News' Max Tedford is at the elections office in downtown Reading. Let's go to him live. Max.
Well, Mike, so far it's been slow going here at the elections office. Ballot processing has not yet been resumed since it was put on pause for staff to go on break just before 6 p.m. I have not yet seen that processing resume yet, but people are still voting here. People are still in line well out the door and out the corner. Now, they did just announce polls closed, but they say anyone in line who's in line before 8 p.m. is going to get to cast their vote. They're going to have staff out in that line making sure that nobody else gets to get in line, but they're also going to be making sure everyone who's here gets to vote. And there is staff working to ensure that processes are visible by camera. I've been seeing a lot of work on these cameras up here in the observer area where we're seeing people put down tape, things like that, so they know where they can go, where they can't go. Now, we are possibly going to be seeing some late results here because of these delays in processing. I'm hearing some whispers that it might be taking up until 9 p.m., but we'll see and we'll wait and report as we hear back. Live in Reading, I'm Max Tedford for the North States News.
All right, thank you, Max. Now to Butte County, where folks lined up all day in Orrville to cast their ballots. The North States News' Muna Sadiq is standing by at the registrar's office in Orrville. Muna, what can you tell us?
Good evening, guys. Yeah, as you know, polls just closed a couple minutes ago, but these people right behind me have been long at work from long before then. What you're looking at is actually the mail-in ballot processing room. This is where mail-in ballots go, of course. Ballots that were picked up from secure drop boxes or voter assistance centers, they all end up here. Fancy machines, basically take a look at them, and they're sorted into 4 different groups. They're basically looking for challenge signatures, the thickness of the ballots, invalid and rejected signatures. It doesn't necessarily mean that the ballots are thrown out altogether. It just means that they need an actual pair of human eyes to come and take a look at them. We're also expecting our first round of results in just a few minutes at 8:15. We'll bring those to you as soon as we can. Live in Orrville, Muna Sadiq, the North States News.
Thank you, Muna. While we wait for the first local vote totals, we want to remind you we'll be bringing you the numbers, local, state, and national, all night, both on air and online. If you go to krcrtv.com, right at the top of the homepage, you'll see the most updated results as they come in. You can keep track of how many electoral votes both Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Trump are getting, along with the balance of power for U.S. Senate and House of Representatives. Below that, you'll find tabs for other national, state, and local results.
Turning now to weather, looking from our rooftop camera toward Highway 44 as people drive home from work as well as the polls. The fire threat continues as gusts nearing 40 miles per hour have been reported today. First Alert meteorologist Brian Schofield is over in the Weather Center with the communities in the crosshairs. Hey, Brian.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the winds were really strong earlier and then they just started to calm down. So we're in a little bit of a lull period, no surprise, as high pressure reasserts itself. That'll change up for tomorrow because all the watches and warnings are still ongoing with wind advisories and red flag warning on the way. There's your high pressure. That's a dome. Look at that. Jet stream riding up and over it, and then down to low pressure off toward the east, southwest in general. And that line right there, that strong north to south flow is what's generating those stronger winds. So it's what we saw earlier, gusts nearly to 40 and certainly dropping down for tonight. So we get a nice little reprieve from that. But once again, they'll be back up again for tomorrow. And certainly if they weren't, if they stay calm the rest of the night, we might even have to lower these numbers, but I think we're right on track with these. 38, city of Mount Shasta, 49 through Corning, 44 in Willows for tonight. So overnight lows on the cool side. Afternoon highs are going to get to be more on the mild side for the next few days, but it's really all about the wind for tomorrow. And really, we're throwing a little rain in the forecast too. Got a couple of weather makers coming in your first alert forecast. That's just ahead.
Thanks a lot, Brian. The most watched race in Shasta County is for the District 3 supervisor seat. They're represented in primarily the eastern part of the county, including Palisadro, Bernie, and Fall River Mills. Incumbent Mary Rickard is looking for a third term, while challenger Corky Harmon is hoping to unseat her.
Yeah, let's go to the North States News. Ariana Martinez, who has been speaking with both candidates throughout the night. Ariana, she's at the Shasta County GOP party at the Harmon Ranch in Palisadro. What can you tell us?
The vibe here tonight has honestly just been a celebration of the elections as well as the this season being over. It's just a celebration here tonight. Now, I did sit down with incumbent Mary Rickard earlier today. She's not having a party this evening. She is at home with her husband as they watch as the numbers roll in this evening, having a more relaxed evening. Now, this is actually her third race running for this seat. She tells me that this election season was very similar to 2016, although at the same time, very different.
But it wasn't near as contentious probably, and Facebook wasn't quite as active in those days. And in 2020, no one ran against me, so I didn't have to campaign at all. So this is really only my second campaign. But I just felt it was imperative that people had a choice, that they had some options to choose from, and so that's why I felt it was time to run.
Now, Corky Hartman tells me that he actually ran in 2010 for an election as well. Now, he tells me this election season, though, meant so much more to him, as he was saying that with age, he grew wiser and just more aware of the things happening in our area.
I got more involved, more educated about what was going on, and I really feel that there's just a lot of serious stuff going on right now, way more serious than whatever local stuff I was concerned about back then. Now it's nationwide.
Again, the feeling here tonight is just very relaxed. Everyone having dinner, watching the national numbers as they see how the elections are panning out for the entire nation this evening. Just relaxed, having a good time here. Now, when I sat down with Mary Rickard earlier today, she did tell me that she's going to be happy either way. Either she's going to be spending a lot more time with her 6 grandchildren and, of course, the cows, or she'll be going right back to work for the people of Shasta County. Now, Corky tells me that he's a glass half full kind of guy. He'll be happy either way as well. I will be checking in with you guys once more at 10 as well as 11. Reporting live in Shasta County, Ariana Martinez, the Northstate's News.
All right, thank you, Ariana. Now, as voters are casting their ballots, it could take some time before we see the final results. Election night, of course, in full swing. Voters might still be wondering when exactly we'll learn which candidates and ballot measures are taking the lead. The Shasta County Elections Office says early results should be available anytime now. Now, this will consist of vote-by-mail ballots that got to the elections office before today. Election staff will add in the precinct ballots voters have submitted at the polling place throughout the night tonight, with updates continuing until all precincts have returned their ballots. Clerk and Registrar of Voters Tom Toller tells us there will be 3 initial updates after the polls close.
The first will be before 9 o'clock tonight. The second will be about 11-ish. About 10:45, so we can accommodate our partners in the media. And then the last will be when we're done counting the precinct ballots.
Toller says the plan is to do another update on Friday after processing more ballots. Elections office representatives say it does take time to count vote-by-mail ballots. They plan to share updated vote totals by 5 p.m. each Friday. Right now, the expected days to update include next Friday and November 20th. You can find the latest on election results on the Shasta County Elections website.
In Butte County, students and other registered voters were voting on the Chico State campus today. There was an event in the Trinity Commons area to encourage and support students while they voted today. They also turned the administration building into a voter assistance center open to the public. A large ballot box was outside the main entrance of the school until voting closed at 8 tonight. It's been a popular spot.
Basically emptied the drop box into these 2 very heavy bags. I could tell they were hauling these bags over to their car, and it was really fascinating to see how many ballots were in that drop box.
Doing this was like a really exciting stage for me, and not only that, I think thinking about my future, that's very important.
The ballot box was filling so quickly it had to be emptied twice.
And staying in Butte, watch parties for the election were held throughout the nation this evening, including in Chico.
The Northstate's News' Hannah Gutierrez stopped by the Chico Green City Coalition's gathering to speak with voters. Hannah.
Thank you, Glenn. Yeah, Butte County voters shared with me what some of their priorities were heading into this year's election. And those hot button issues include women's reproductive rights, the environment, and foreign policy. Community members gathered at a pizza shop in Chico to watch the election results and predictions together, also checking in on local elections. I asked some attendees what they're hopeful for this evening.
unifying the nation, and that everybody's important, everybody has a say. And again, she's not only going to have Democrats on her cabinet, but she's also going to have Republicans.
Very hopeful of it. The sort of the cautious optimism, but the enthusiasm for her candidacy is very nice to be around and see people who are happy to speak with one another.
Now the group will continue to watch the updates together throughout the night at Roselle Bar and Lounge in Chico and the Miriam Park community for those interested in stopping by. We reached out to the Butte County Republican Party for their thoughts on the election, but have not yet heard back. Attendees say they're also looking forward to the results of the local ballot measures, which we will keep you updated on. For now, reporting live in Chico, Hannah Gutierrez, North States News.
Thank you, Hannah. Coming up next, voters on the coast lined up to cast their ballots. Here from voters that took to the polls earlier today. When we come back, stay with us.